We walk for several reasons, both practical and evolutionary. Walking is a fundamental way humans and many other animals move from one place to another. Walking allows us to explore our environment, discover new places, and connect with nature. The first animals to walk on land were likely early tetrapods, which were four-limbed vertebrates that evolved from lobe-finned fish. These early tetrapods appeared during the late Devonian period, around 360 million years ago. One of the earliest known tetrapods is Tiktaalik, a fish-like creature with features of both fish and tetrapods, suggesting it was transitioning from water to land. As these early tetrapods adapted to terrestrial environments, they eventually gave rise to the diverse group of land animals we see today. The evolution of animals from water to land was a gradual process spanning millions of years. It began with fish-like creatures developing limb-like structures from their fins, allowing them to support their bodies on land. These early tetrapods also evolved lungs or lung-like structures to breathe air, enabling them to stay out of water for extended periods. The development of limbs with joints and digits helped them move more efficiently on land, navigating various terrains. These adaptations were likely driven by factors such as competition for resources and the availability of new ecological niches. Over time, these early tetrapods became fully terrestrial animals, leading to the diverse array of land animals we see today. During the Apollo 11 mission, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin spent a total of about 2 hours and 15 minutes outside the lunar module, mostly walking on the moon's surface. Armstrong himself walked approximately 656 feet, about 200 meters, from the lunar module to the Little West crater and back. This distance is roughly the equivalent of walking the length of 2 American football fields. During the Apollo missions, astronauts conducted a series of moonwalks, or extravehicular activities, EVAs, where they explored the lunar surface on foot. These moonwalks varied in duration and distance, depending on the mission objectives and the specific terrain they encountered. The total distance walked on the moon by all Apollo astronauts combined was approximately 95.5 kilometers, 59.3 miles. This distance was spread across the 6 successful Apollo missions that landed on the moon between 1969 and 1972. The longest single moonwalk was conducted during the Apollo 17 mission, when astronauts Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt spent about 7 hours and 37 minutes outside the lunar module, covering a total distance of approximately 22.3 miles, 35.9 kilometers, as they explored the Taurus-Littrow Valley. It's challenging to estimate the total distance walked by all humans on Earth, as it would require accounting for the billions of people who have ever lived and their individual walking habits over centuries. However, we can make some rough calculations based on average daily walking distances and the global population over time. If we assume an average daily walking distance of about 5 kilometers per person and an estimated global population of around 108 billion people who have ever lived, we can estimate a total distance walked by all humans on Earth to be approximately 540 billion kilometers. The average distance from Earth to the Sun is about 149.6 million kilometers. The total distance walked by all humans on Earth would be equivalent to about 3,610 round trips to the Sun, or 0.0006% of the diameter of the Milky Way. If we assume an average walking pace of about 5 kilometers per hour and an average stride length of about 0.75 meters, you would take approximately 6,666 steps to walk 5 kilometers. Now let's consider the global population of around 7.9 billion people. If we assume that everyone is walking at the same pace and taking the same number of steps as you, then approximately 1,185,560 people would take the same step as you during your 5-kilometer walk. The average adult takes about 7,500 steps per day, which is roughly equivalent to 5 kilometers and lives for 72.6 years. Based on these figures, we can estimate the total distance a person would walk in their lifetime. Daily walking distance times life expectancy times 365. using the average daily walking distance of 5 kilometers and a life expectancy of 72.6 years. 5 kilometers times 72.6 years times 365 days equals to 132,570 kilometers. So, on average, a person would walk approximately 132,570 kilometers in their lifetime. Anything which has mass can influence the gravity of Earth. Yes, you do influence Earth's gravity, but the effect is extremely small and practically negligible. Gravity is a force of attraction between two objects with mass, and every object with mass, no matter how small, exerts a gravitational pull on other objects. However, the gravitational force you exert as an individual is minuscule compared to the gravitational force exerted by the Earth. To estimate the effect of a single person walking on Earth's gravity, we can use the formula for gravitational force, where F is the gravitational force, G is the gravitational constant, m1 and me2 are the masses of the two objects, and r is the distance between the centers of the two objects. The mass of the Earth is approximately 5.972 times 10 to the power of 24 kilograms, and the average mass of a person in about 70 kilograms. The average radius of the Earth is about 6.371 times 10 to the power of 6 meters. Let's assume the person is standing on the surface of the Earth, so r is equal to the radius of the Earth. Plugging in these values, we get F is equal to 6.009 times 10 raised to the power of negative 11. This calculation shows that the gravitational force exerted by a single person standing on the surface of the Earth is approximately 6.09 times 10 raised to the power of negative 11 newtons. This force is extremely small compared to the overall gravitational force of the Earth, which is about 9.81 newtons per kilogram. Historically, people often walked more in the past than they do today. Before the widespread availability of motorized transportation, walking was the primary mode of transportation for most people. People walked to work, to visit friends and family, to shop, and for leisure. Walking was also a key component of daily life, as it was necessary for activities like farming, hunting, and gathering. With the advent of cars, buses, and other forms of motorized transportation, walking for transportation has become less common in many parts of the world. Additionally, changes in urban planning and the built environment have led to environments that are less conducive to walking, such as the spread of suburbs and the prioritization of cars over pedestrians in city planning.